All right, today we're diving into something truly amazing, a process called meiosis. Now, you might just think of it as cell division, but it's so much more. It's this tiny, intricate dance happening inside our cells that's absolutely essential for, well, for all of us and for the incredible variety of life we see all around. So let's get right into it.
Okay, so to get our heads around this, let's start with a basic fact. Think about almost any cell in your body, your skin, your muscles, whatever. Each one of them has 46 chromosomes. That's your complete genetic blueprint, right? Half of it, 23 chromosomes, came from your mom, and the other half, 23, came from your dad. Simple enough. 23 plus 23 equals 46.
But hold on, that leads to a really big question. A huge puzzle, actually. If a baby is made from two parents and both parents have 46 chromosomes in their cells, how does that work? How do you combine their DNA without just doubling the chromosomes every single time?
I mean, look at the math here. You take a regular cell from a mother, that's 46 chromosomes. You take one from the father, another 46. If you just mash them together, well, you can see the problem, right? The numbers just don't add up. Or rather, they add up to something that doesn't work.
Yeah, you end up with 92. And that's just not how you build a human. A cell with 92 chromosomes simply isn't viable. So you can see nature had this huge math problem to solve.
So what's the answer? Well, there has to be a way to take that number, 46, and cut it in half before anything combines. You need special cells with just 23 chromosomes, all set and ready for fertilization.
And that clever, elegant solution? That's meiosis. This is the process that does the halving. It takes a cell from what scientists call a diploid state to a haploid state. Don't worry, let's break down exactly what those words mean.
So a diploid cell is just your standard body cell. It's got the full set of 46 chromosomes. You can think of di as in double. Pretty easy, right? A haploid cell, then, is one that has just half that amount, a single set of 23. And that, right there, is the whole goal of meiosis, to make these haploid cells. So where do you find these special haploid cells? Well, there are only two places in the human body. We're talking about sperm cells in males and egg cells, or ovules, in females. These are the reproductive cells, and we call them gametes. Meiosis exists for one reason and one reason only: to create these gametes.
Now, this whole process isn't just a simple one-and-done split. It's more like a two-act play. You have meiosis 1, the first big event, and then meiosis 2, the second. Each act has its own specific job, but together they get us to that magic number of 23. So let's pull back the curtain on Act 1.
Meiosis honestly, this is where the real magic happens. We're not just talking about splitting a cell in two. No. This is all about shuffling the genetic deck, creating totally new combinations that have never existed before. So right at the beginning, in a stage called prophase 1, something amazing happens. The chromosome you got from your mom finds its matching partner from your dad. And each one of these has already copied itself, so they look like little X shapes. When these matching pairs get together, they form this cozy little group of 4 called a tetrad.
And this is where it gets really wild. While they're all paired up like that, they actually reach over and trade little pieces of themselves. A chunk of DNA from the mom's chromosome swaps with a chunk from the dad's chromosome. This incredible genetic trade-off is called crossing over. Now, this isn't some random accident. This is a deliberate, crucial feature of the whole process. This is what recombination is all about, and it's the main engine driving genetic variation. It means the chromosomes you eventually pass on aren't the exact same ones your parents gave you. They're brand new, totally unique, shuffled up versions. Okay, so after that big genetic shuffle, the pairs get pulled to opposite sides of the cell, and then, swoop, the cell splits in two. So at the end of Act 1, what do we have? 2 new cells. Each one has 23 chromosomes, but remember, each of those chromosomes is still in that X shape, made of 2 copies. And that brings us to Act 2, meiosis 2. Now, if you've ever learned about mitosis, the way our regular body cells divide to grow and heal, this next part is going to look super familiar. It's basically the same thing with one absolutely critical difference. And what is that critical difference? The cells go straight into another division, but they skip the part where they copy their DNA. This is the key step. This is how we guarantee we end up with just half the original number of chromosomes.
From here on out, it's pretty simple. In both of those cells we made, the 23 chromosomes line up in the middle. Then, the two halves of each X are pulled apart. The cells split one final time, and that's it.
So, let's step back. After 2 whole rounds of division and that incredibly important crossing over step, what did we actually make? What's the grand finale of this whole process? The result is, well, it's pretty remarkable. We started with one single diploid cell, and now we have 4 haploid cells. And because of crossing over, every single one of them is genetically unique. Each one is a brand new mix of DNA that has never existed before.
And just to make sure this really sticks, let's compare it to mitosis one more time. Mitosis is for growth and repair. It's basically a genetic copy machine. One division gives you 2 identical clones. But meiosis is for reproduction. It takes 2 divisions to make 4 unique cells with half the DNA. And that uniqueness, that's the whole point. That's the genius of crossing over.
Okay, so we've covered the how, but now let's zoom out and talk about the why. What's the ultimate payoff for such a complicated process? Why does nature bother with all these steps?
Well, here's the bottom line. First, it solves that big math problem, right? It makes sure every generation gets the correct number of chromosomes. But even more important than that, it creates an almost endless variety of sperm and egg cells. And all that genetic diversity isn't just for fun, it's the secret to survival. It's the raw material that allows species to adapt and evolve in a world that's always changing.
Think about that. Meiosis makes sure that every single new organism is a totally unique genetic experiment. It's a constant, never-ending shuffle of the deck, and it's what gives species, including our own, the ability to face whatever the future throws at us. It's the reason you are you, and it's happening all over the planet right now. Thanks for joining me for this explainer.